Hello everyone. Yellowstone prequels have been dominating the entertainment sector for the past couple of years, and it seems like this will continue to be the trend for the near future, with new shows being announced constantly. Although the new series excites us a lot, knowing that they will share the charm of Yellowstone, embrace Taylor Sheridan's creativity, and will put an emphasis on some of the most crucial historical events, we also would like to watch the existing series for more than a season. Why? Well, because by the end of Season 1, we finally get used to the characters and get invested in their story. So when the story comes to an ending at that very point, we are left with a mini-series that we barely care about. This is exactly what happened with 1883, the first Yellowstone prequel. The show was pretty engaging and had somewhat interesting characters. However, since it had only one season, it was nothing more than a Yellowstone prequel. Without Yellowstone, the show was more or less meaningless. Most of its charm comes from the fact that it's part of a larger universe and thus has a role to fulfill, which it successfully does. And yet, that's about it. As a standalone, it's unsatisfactory and doesn't feel like a complete show. Knowing how we feel about 1883, we were very nervous about 1923 as well. We were afraid that this show will also have a single season and eventually we will end up with a bunch of prequels that doesn't mean much as standalone but gains importance when watched in order. So in order for Yellowstone universe to be a complete, meaningful story, we were supposed to wait for almost a decade so that each show is being released. Well, even though we are still feeling this way for the most part, it seems like we might be wrong about 1923. First of all, 1923 isn't exactly similar to 1883 in terms of the reactions it gets from the Yellowstone universe fans. The show has started its journey by breaking records as it has the most watched premiere in 2022. So the anticipation for the series was much higher than in 1883, and the audience was already ready to welcome the show. As the season proceeded, the reviews started to hit the internet. The initial reviews were mostly mixed, as the first couple of episodes were not very impressive in comparison to other Yellowstone universe releases. It was also somewhat difficult to understand the point of the story, as we were following 3 different storylines all at once. However, once the story took off, it took off quite well. After a couple of episodes, the show started to make a lot of sense, and the multiple storylines turned out to be its strength rather than weakness. Especially the character work on this one was particularly impressive, as we were finally getting to know some other Duttons who are worth to be remembered almost as much as John Dutton. At this point, our only concern was the assumption that the show will only get a single season and we will have to say goodbye to all these characters soon. Well, thankfully, we were wrong. Last week, Paramount Network has made the following announcement. There are more stories to tell. 1923 will return for a second season. In the meantime, Season 1 continues with new episodes this Sunday, exclusively on Paramount+. Then, the legendary actor Harrison Ford, who plays the part of Jacob Dutton in the series, confirmed in an interview that he will be in the second season of the series. This was a true relief for us, as we were no longer anxious about whether there will be a complete story in the end or whether will we ever see these characters again. Instead, we started to make predictions about when to expect the second season and what will be told in it. So far in the show, we watched the Duttons in Montana, Spencer and Alexandra in Africa, and all the other places of the globe, and Tiana running from the brutal missionaries. Although there are some links between these 3 storylines, we are yet to figure out how will they all come together. We expect the Season 1 final to bring all these characters in a single spot and set up a scene for Season 2. In our opinion, in Season 2, we will watch Spencer fighting for his family's revenge while the rest of the family enjoys his presence as the guardian of the Yellowstone Ranch. We will watch Kara and Elizabeth training Alexandra on the way of life in Montana as she struggles to keep up with changes in her life. Jack and Elizabeth will raise their children together, which means they have a lot more to fight for right now. Tiana will be taken under the protection of the Duttons in our opinion, meaning that the family will have yet another reason to be hated by the authorities in Montana. This setup alone is enough for us to be excited for 1923 Season 2. We know that yet another prequel titled 1944 is expected to be released soon. However, for things to make sense, we believe 1923 needs to be completed first so that we can watch 1944 without the fear of getting spoilers. This means that 1923 is likely to be released before the end of 2023, likely around September 2023. Are you excited for 1923 Season 2? What are your expectations from the new season of the series? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you for watching. See you soon.